Well, thought I'd do a little video. I'm sure you guys are getting tired of looking at my face, but still a lot of emails coming in, a lot of questions, and this is just the easiest way to answer them all. I'm going to get back to everybody on the emails, but there's a lot of them, and I'm just like everybody else. I got a full-time job and a family, so getting time every night to sit down for a couple hours and reply to emails is not always something I can do. So I'm back in my normal place. It's taking me a nice little hike today. It's early March. It was cool last night, but it's perfect hiking weather. It's about 45 degrees. A light breeze, sunny, just real nice. A lot of people on the trail today, and Sasquatch are watching. As people go by me, it's funny. You'll hear them signal each other as people move up and down the trail. That's usually when I like to come up here and are used to. I don't research in the typical way or the usual way anymore. I just strap a camera to my back and come up here and hike around and enjoy myself. And you know, one decides to take a peek, and I might get a little footage, and it'll be, you know, ain't nothing wrong with that. But anyway, just, I mean, you know, once you know, and they know you know, and you can recognize their signals and sounds and what they're doing. And I've been coming up here long enough to know where all the hiding spots are and where the lookouts are. And these two girls just passed me. Right after they passed, got a double wood knock to my left, and then a reply on top of the mountain, way off. But you know, he was letting them know there's two girls coming. And they've used hoot owl calls in the middle of the day before. And that's pretty simple. They just kind of give everybody a heads up how many are coming. Heard some hooting too. Or whoops, not hooting. Whoop, whoop. Heard a couple of them. And so, you know, they're just, it's a Saturday and the trail's alive with people and smells and sounds, and they've got their popcorn out watching the show. But anyway, so back, I'm breathing heavy because I got a 45-pound pack on my back. But anyway, where was I? Okay, I had to put my glasses back on. So the first thing I want to address is Steve Isdahl and our friendship. And I've caught a little grief because Steve's a direct, no BS type of guy. And he tells you what he thinks. And he really doesn't care if he hurts your feelings or not. And some people just have a hard time with that. And I think he's a great guy. And I love it. I love that direct approach. And many of my friends are like him. You know, I'm more of a quote nice guy, I guess. And maybe I don't speak that way as far as that bluntly. I say the same thing. I just do it in a southern gentleman way. But you don't know you're being insulted until you think about it later. So, but he and I are good friends. I've already partnered with him with some upcoming projects. Because number one, I believe in what he's doing. I understand what he's doing and why he's doing it. And sorry about that. It hit. I'm unscripted and all that good stuff. But so where was I? Oh yeah. So you know, I'm 100% in support of Steve and what he's doing. And if you know, the old saying goes, if he hurts your feelings or you don't like the way he presents what he presents, you don't have to watch him. And you don't have to subscribe, and same thing with my channel. You know, I'm not, people send me emails saying, oh, he said this to me, or people are saying, oh, he's just ripping the whole researcher community. And if you've been listening, he's not. If you've been listening, he's not doing that. But a lot of people hear what they want to hear instead of what he's really saying. And, you know, if he does it, you know, he's not someone who has been chasing these things for 10 or 15 years. So to him, a lot of it doesn't make any sense. To him, what makes sense is these things are real. They exist. And there are people that are having encounters with them. They're having life-changing encounters with this being. And it's really upsetting their life. It's giving them emotional problems. It's giving them, you know, PTSD, whatever you want to call it. But they're, you know, these people need help. They are, every time they try to share their story, they're ridiculed, laughed at, scoffed, told they didn't see what they saw. And after a traumatic experience like that, and on top of that, you pile that sort of emotional grief, you know, that can just be devastating to somebody. I understand that, you know. And so the mission is to help those people and to educate others. So just like there's bear, mountain lion, moose, wild boar, rattlesnakes, whatever else, make sure that the people are aware that they're out here and be prepared for them as best you can. And then when someone says, yeah, I saw a Sasquatch on the trail, you know, oh, you know, it's like just like saying I saw a bear on the trail. And people will listen, understand, and allow that person to tell their encounter and it be accepted. And that makes it a lot easier on the person who's had the encounter, knowing that, you know, there are others that have had this experience and that they're believed. A couple of girls passed me a few minutes ago and they're talking loud. Still, I think I hear them talking. Not 100% sure. So, the bottom line on that one, me and Steve are good friends. We partnered up. And don't write me no more telling me, you know, why I ain't hurt my feelings. Okay? Put on your big boy britches. And, you know, it's kind of like TV. If you don't like what's on, there's an off button. If you don't like what he's saying, don't watch him. If you don't like the fact that I support him and we're friends, don't watch me. It's that simple. I ain't in this thing to make friends. So, you know, I'm a nice guy, but I have my limitations. So that's my little spiel about Steve. And those who have issues with his delivery of the facts and think that he's attacking all researchers. You know, if you can't take a critical look at yourself, you know, that's part of it. You know, it just amazes me. Anyway, I'll move on to another subject. Okay, infrasound. Been getting a lot of questions about what is infrasound. A lot of discussion, can or can't do this, or can't do that. And so, first of all, you got to get the definition of what infrasound is. And infrasound is an ultra low frequency sound that we can't hear. It's almost like I guess it's as much a vibration as a sound, but it is just a very low frequency sound that can cause things to resonate. Everything has a resonant frequency, everything. And if you can figure out the resonant frequency of something, that's a powerful weapon. So you can shatter it, or you can control it. And so, you know, tigers use infrasound, elephants use it, whales use it. It's military uses it as a crowd control weapon. I've seen an inventor have an infrasound microphone, or a speaker, not a microphone, where he could directionally push the infrasound and cause the inner ear to vibrate, so the person would literally hear the sound in their head. So basically the inner ear vibrates and there's no, quote, sound wave, and it's directional, so only the person you're pointing it at can hear it. And so that's kind of my theory on how the Sasquatch do some of the things they do, is they know how to produce and direct infrasound. They know the frequencies that mess with us. They know the frequency to cause us to start having fear and anxiety. They can, quote, talk to us directly into our heads, so to speak, mind speak, or a form of it. I think there's actually a true mind speak, but by directing infrasound, they can cause you to hear sounds, for sure. They can incapacitate you, knock you out. With the infrasound, they can also blank your memory out. You can have some missing time. Both of those have happened to me. I had missing time for a couple times, about 10 minutes each. Thank goodness I had a video camera, or I wouldn't have known I had missing time. And it's a weird feeling, rewatching your video when you see an encounter with them, and then you see or something happen, and then you're seeing it and you don't remember it. It's weird. But they've disoriented me. And like I said, there's been 2 cases where I know that they've incapacitated people. Well, more than 2, but I mean 2 people I know. One of my buds in British Columbia, who's been doing this, he's a Native American. Been doing this for a long time. They've been hit so hard by infrasound they've had to crawl. The animals and everything got hit, and they literally were sick, made them sick at their stomach. They were throwing up, they were nauseous, they were dizzy, and they literally had to crawl away from the Sasquatch. And then I know of one fella who pretty much they killed him with it. And for a couple, I don't know how long, for just a short period of time, he had an out-of-body experience where he was looking down, seeing his body crumpled up in the floor, and then he regained consciousness. And that was after being hit by infrasound. He was actually making eye contact with one. He was inside of his house looking out of his bedroom window, and it was just about 20 feet away, standing in the wood line. And it made he made it look like it was razzing him. That's what he said. Was pushing the lip. The bottom lip was vibrating, looked like he was razzing him. And then he heard a sound. It sounded like that long kazoo-like horn. What am I thinking of? Down in Australia, I'll have to look up the name. I never can remember the name, but it's that hum kazoo-like sound. It comes from one of those weapons. Comes from one of those music instruments that they blow in Australia. And then he said next thing he knows, he's looking down at his crumpled body. And so infrasound can be dangerous, and they use it. And that's my theory. There's some other people that don't completely buy into that, and that's fine. I mean, do your own research. I've done mounds of research on infrasound, and there was a study in England where they brought people into a music hall, and it was regular music playing, but along with that regular music, at different time intervals, they would play different frequencies, and everybody had had a survey, and at the time intervals they were told, to mark how they were feeling or thinking or whatever. And certain frequencies, some people would feel dread and feel like, they needed to just run out, that they were in extreme danger. At other frequencies, they felt euphoric and great and happy. So, they were, infrasounds can have all kinds of different effects. And of course, each person, each individual is different. So, a frequency may have one effect on you, the same frequency, a little different one on me. So it's not an exact science, and probably explains why sometimes some people are affected more by it than others. And Sasquatch is probably modulating the frequency, trying to figure out, this one usually does this, but this guy it's not working on. So, and that also is a buyer beware consumer warning, because if you think about it, if they knew this 20 or more years ago, and they know what frequencies make you more acceptable to buy products and whatever, make you feel more euphoric, I guarantee you that they're popping it in the movie theaters and maybe even through our TVs, who knows. So, there's always ways to manipulate people. But the interesting thing about this study is the scientists in the study, they had a machine. They used a long corrugated pipe, and then at one end they built it, and they had like a diaphragm, like a drum head, and they'd hit that drum head, and then pretty much based on how hard they hit the drum head and how long the pipe was, they extend it or shorten it. They could change the frequencies. They had a meter there, and they could, they knew what frequencies and modulate those frequencies. Well, they had it all wired up to buttons and stuff, so they could just turn the knobs. And on one evening they left, and the guy forgot to turn the machine off. So the next morning, so they can't hear it, and they weren't paying attention. So the machine is on a certain frequency. I think it's 4 hertz. I'm not sure. But it was at a certain frequency, and all of a sudden, one of the scientists started seeing gray aliens, literally, or a ghost-like gray creature. And then the other guy's like, "You see that?" And he's like, "Yeah." And they all looked at each other. He says, "Well, we can't be having a mass hallucination," but they knew it wasn't real. And then they started looking around, and they discovered that the machine was on and producing a infrasound at that frequency, at that level, and it caused them all to hallucinate and see a gray-like alien. So there's you another one. Interesting little tidbit, So basically, they use that as a tool and a weapon. If they want to get out of, they could pop you, disorient you, and walk off. A lot of people say they just disappeared, and of course I've seen them half cloaked and half not cloaked. But one of the scenarios for them just disappearing is they pop you real hard with infrasound, daze you for a second, and then when you come back to they're gone. To you, they've disappeared. So, another little trick in the bag. And so you got to keep your mind open. But that's what I discovered about those things, in my research. And that's, of course, I don't have any, well, I have some empirical, but most of it's anecdotal. I got the big college word out this time. And so, what else I want to talk about? Oh, I plan on putting myself up in a corner, and I'll show some back trail footage on the 4K. It actually looks really good. It looks like you're walking through the woods. And I prefer it from the rear instead of the front. For some reason, it just looks cooler, you know, coming out the back, even just for footage of you walking around, and you know, it's just really neat. So I'm trying to think. That was the question, you know. This is Infrasound, and of course the other was Steve Isdahl, and he rubs some people the wrong way, and he's direct, blunt, and so, you know, that's just the way he is, and I like him. He's a good friend, and you know, he's a unique individual. We need more people like him. You know, people willing to stand up for those who can't stand up for themselves. Those willing to take on the bullies, and he's one of them. He's one of the good guys, and I'm glad to call him a friend. I'll keep my little project of going back through all my back trail. That's continuing, joining everything else. I've got a laundry basket, if you can imagine that, full of 4 terabyte DVD. I've got I can't talk. I said I've got a laundry basket full of those 4 terabyte DVDs, full. I mean, I've got 10 years worth of back trail footage, 10 years. And so I'm just slowly but surely, you know, working my way through it. And, you know, maybe one day there'll be a little jewel on there again. You just never know. They're liable to show up at any time, at any place, anywhere, you know, and usually where you least expect it and when you least expect it.